I think that most often God works in small, subtle ways through the movements of one's heart. And I think if one feels an attraction to the priesthood, even slightly, especially during moments of prayer and silence, then I think one may have a vocation, and I think it's worth discerning. I especially believe that a vocation is born out of love for Christ and his call to serve the church. A few instances, a few examples in my own life. There were 3 occasions where I felt that Christ might be calling me to the priesthood, and each one was during a moment of silence or during a moment of prayer. The first one was during an evening Sunday Mass, so it was a special moment of prayer as the priest was giving the homily. I had this sudden desire to do what he was doing and to reach out to his people. The second occasion occurred during a trip out to my grandparents' house in a small town in Kansas. And the road trip, it was a time of silence. I was with my mom, and it was just reflecting on that silence, on the simplicity of life, that helped draw my heart to an attraction to the priesthood. And it also allowed me an opportunity to tell my mom about my prayer life and about what was occurring. And the third instance happened during a Christmas break. It was a time of rest from classes and schoolwork, a time of silence, being at home. And it was also a time when I was reading a book about Mother Teresa, and through her writings I was inspired by her great love for God. And I think that was a moment that helped inspire that same love in me and that same calling to serve him in the way of priesthood. I think if you feel called, if you feel that you may be called, a good thing to do is to talk to a priest, to visit the vocations office, and to put yourself in an environment that is conducive to prayer and to discernment. Especially if you can become involved with ministries that might give a taste of the ministry of priesthood, such as visiting the elderly or visiting the sick and distributing communion at hospitals, or becoming involved with Bible studies and prayer groups. So I think especially though would be to seek good counsel and to have any questions that might need to be answered by your local pastor or by the vocations director, Father Mike Simone. I think 3 central keys for discernment would be to have a good prayer life, to have good counsel, and to have a good environment conducive to discernment. A good prayer life, I think, first and foremost entails a prayer life, especially prayer that is before Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. The calling of each of the apostles in the Gospels always involves an encounter with Jesus. I think it also involves being before Jesus in his divine word in the Scriptures and listening to him through his own words, especially in the Gospels, reflecting on his own life. And I think also especially prayer involving the Rosary, because I believe Mary has a special care and concern for priests and for seminarians and for bringing men to Jesus, especially in the priesthood. The second key, a good counsel, having good counsel. I believe that involves speaking to priests, finding time to meet with your local pastor and maybe have questions answered, asking about the discernment process. I think it also involves going to visit the vocations office and speak with those who are directly involved with discernment and with the application process to seminary. And I think it also involves finding a good spiritual director, one who can help you and guide you in your prayer life, and one who you could go to regular confession with for that option. And the third key, having a good environment that is conducive to discernment. I think that involves placing yourself in an area where you are free from distractions that may keep you from discernment, that may keep you from prayer and from considering the vocation of priesthood if you feel a calling towards that. And I think it involves placing yourself in the midst of those who would be encouraging and who could give advice, and those maybe who are also on the same path. And that's why I think applying and putting yourself into the formation process of seminary life is the best means to have a good environment, because you have the academics, which kind of give you an idea of what a seminarian might be studying. You have, more importantly, the spiritual life of the seminarian, which involves prayer, and you have many more opportunities for prayer and adoration and prayer with community, and also pastoral activities that a seminarian experiences while in the seminary. And you get out and you get to have some hands-on work with the ministry of a priest, and you get to go out to parishes and be involved with those ministries. And if you're not in seminary yet, and maybe you're considering or you're getting ready to apply, in the meantime, a good way to place yourself in a good environment, or something good to do, would be to seek out those ministries that may be available to you at your local Catholic student center if you're on a college campus, or just at your local parish. If you can find ministries for bringing Holy Communion to the homebound or to those in hospitals, or if there are ministries for visiting the elderly, or anything else that you could become involved with at your parish. And also retreats, such as the Quo Vadis retreat that Wichita offers, specifically for helping you to discern.